Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Word Balloon. John Suntress here, celebrating Pride Month with a representation of my 2013 conversation with Dan Parent, the creator of Kevin Kelly, the consummate Archie artist in modern day, who evokes the styles of Dan DeCarlo and Stan Goldberg in his images. I always say hi to him when I see him at conventions, and he always delivers with not only the obvious, but great parodies, throwing Betty, Veronica, Archie, and all the Archie characters into other genres. Christ, I just saw a great image of Archie in a Starfleet uniform holding an Orion slave girl that might be Betty, under the green makeup and green hair. Might be Veronica. They got straight long hair, but it's gorgeous. And of course, making Veronica Vampirella or making Betty Red Sonja. So many great parodies that Dan will do for conventions. And he's at a convention this weekend and doing the same thing. So this is going to be a great conversation with Dan Parent on today's Word Balloon. This episode of Word Balloon is brought to you by Pulse College. Pulse College has 3 decades of a proven track record delivering professional industry training courses in audio, music, film, games, and animation. Since 1991, Pulse has received international recognition for both its vocational and practical-driven academic courses. All courses are designed and delivered by experienced industry professionals and offer cutting-edge blends of academic perspectives fused with practical skill sets in the areas of film, music, games, and animation. This, combined with the unique teaching and learning environment of the iconic Windmill Lane recording studios, makes world-class industry education attainable. Learners from around the world can join in a variety of short courses offered remotely via Zoom in the fields of sequential art and design, 2D animation, 3D animation, character design, and game environments. For more details, visit pulsecollege.com. Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Word Balloon. This is John Suntress with an important plea for 2023. You probably read the headlines. Word Balloon took a sponsorship hit that was pretty significant, and I'm asking you if you've ever been a fan of Word Balloon and considered making a donation through Patreon, a very meager but important subscription. I hope you'll consider it. It's going to be a challenging 2023, and I need your help. So if you like Word Balloon, if you enjoy the content, I'm not going to slow down and keep bringing you some excellent content, but I could really use your help via Patreon, patreon.com/wordballoon. If you can afford the price of a comic book, if you can even afford $1 a month, it would be greatly appreciated and help the cause to keep Word Balloon going at the level and intensity that I've been doing in the last 4 or 5 years, and bring you a lot more content and a lot of great interviews and interesting things about the pop culture world. Patreon.com/wordballoon. I could really use your help. Thank you for your attention, your time, and listening to Word Balloon. Word Balloon is brought to you by AlexRossArt.com. Alex has been a longtime sponsor of Word Balloon. I greatly appreciate it. You got to go to his website. You will find tremendous art from original work, covers, pages, fantastic lithographs, amazing posters. Every price point is covered, and every subject is covered at AlexRossArt.com. You've enjoyed his iconic looks at DC and Marvel, but also great stuff like his wonderful work on the Monkees, Monty Python, so many other great pop culture things that Alex has put his fingerprints on. His wonderful Flash Gordon poster that evokes the fantastic Dino De Laurentiis Sam Jones movie. Recently, Alex did things like the timeless Marvel covers featuring great solo shots of all your favorite Marvel heroes, and of course his Fantastic Four full circle graphic novel still available. All waiting for you now at AlexRossArt.com. Welcome back for another edition of Word Balloon, the comic book conversation show. Very happy to have our first conversation with Dan Parent from Archie Comics, one of the great writers and artists of Archie. And I'm telling you, as I say in this conversation, I think Archie is really one of the most forward-thinking comic book publishers out there. And it's really been fun in the last 5 or 6 years to reacquaint myself with Archie Comics. I'm a huge fan of Life with Archie, the tales of the adult exploits of the Riverdale gang. I think that's a great book. And another great innovation that's happened at Archie is Kevin Keller, a character who happens to be gay and a new kid at Riverdale. He's also in the Life with Archie books. And Dan is the creator of that and was awarded a GLAAD Award for his creation of Kevin Keller. So we're happy to congratulate Dan and find out what's going on at Archie with Dan Parent in Part 1 of Word Balloon. Dan Parent, welcome to Word Balloon. Congratulations on the award and the recognition that has come from the creation of Kevin Kelly.
Oh, thank you. It was very, very exciting.
Excellent, man.
And very rewarding.
Is this the first time you've won, but it's like talking to Susan Lucci. First time you won, but you've been nominated before? Is that fair?
Well, we were nominated. This is the third nomination. So we didn't get quite to that point, but we were maybe if we had lost this year, we would start to feel that way. But no, it was good. Third time was the charm, so that was good.
That's excellent, man. And I've said this before when I've talked to Paul Kupperberg. I really am thrilled with the progressive thinking and innovation that is going on at Archie in general, and everything. I mean, I'm in particular a fan of Life with Archie, and Kevin certainly plays a big part in that as well.
Sure.
But really, it is so cool that such a household institution for decades like Archie Comics has, kind of said, hey, something, these should be for everybody. And obviously that comes through with what you're doing with Kevin.
Sure. And a lot of it, had to do when John Goldwater came on board. He was the one that sort of okayed this whole, kind of looking forward approach. So, big thanks to John because he's the one that really, pushed this forward.
Was there an idea of saying, hey, let's have a gay character? Or was it, as you said, let's go, let's try anything? And you saying, how about a gay character? How did the creation happen?
It was sort of, we wanted diversity. That was the number one thing. We wanted newer characters, reflecting modern times, and really it was about diversity. It wasn't specifically a gay character.
Okay.
So we had added, we decided to add a bunch of new characters, different ethnicities, different backgrounds. We did that in this New Kids book of Archie, New Kids storyline. And then we had Archie dating Valerie from Josie, and that was adding a little oomph to the Archie storyline. And then I had suggested a gay character, and John was for it, and he just wanted to make sure, and we all agreed on this, that we did it right, because this was a little more tough to pull off, and we knew we would get. We have a conservative audience in a lot of ways, so we had to know that we had to tread carefully, and also not to do it so it looked like a stunt.
Sure. Because
that does happen sometimes where you bring in a gay character just to sort of get a little bit of attention, and then suddenly the character is shoved into the background. And we really wanted to make sure that we were introducing a character that people were going to like and want to have stick around.
They're just really good stories about high school, and it's great that, there's a real normalcy to Kevin. And I think that's obviously the goal, and I think that's comes through in the execution. The George Takei issue I thought was really great because, it hit all those buttons of, I'm a sci-fi fan. There's George Takei. He's a great advocate. He's a hero of mine. And just, that really nice vignette of him visiting the school, the whole story. I mean, for people who hadn't read it, they can get it through digital, obviously, through the digital store. I don't want to give away too much more, but, that's the thing, man. It's just that, it's this new guy. I love the fact that Veronica had a crush on him and then was kind of like, or at least trying to kind of get him interested, which, that's terrific. And like you say, too.
Yeah, it was a great way to sort of, get the Veronica Kevin friendship going. You know, she obviously the love angle wasn't going to work, and but the whole story was fun because it also was a typical Archie story. Veronica wanted this guy. She couldn't figure out why he didn't want her, so she you know, our stories still are based around that very simple formula of crushes and dating and all that. So that's never going to change.
That's awesome, man. No, I like it. You mentioned some of the other new characters, the new diverse characters, and forgive me because, a lot of times I kind of narrowcast when I read the specific Archie books that I read. So give me some of the other diverse characters that are out there now in the Archie universe.
Well, we've got, we added probably about 10 or 15 characters. The storyline basically was another school shuts down.
Oh, okay.
Because of budget cuts, so then they have a bunch of there's like an onslaught of new kids in Riverdale. So, some of the new characters, like there's one character named Shrill, another character named Danny. They've taken off a little bit more. Some of the other characters are still, they didn't really quite click, which we may use them again, we may not. But there's 4 or 5 of those characters that have worked. We also added, in addition to Valerie, we gave her a brother, who is named Trev, who is kind of hit it off with Betty. Huh. So he's another popular character.
Cool.
And you just kind of know, just really from the feedback of the readers, you especially when you go to conventions and you talk to people, you really get a feel for it. Like the Archie Valerie thing was an instant success.
Absolutely.
People like that story right away.
Not surprised. No, that was great. And really, I even love their future story, too, with their kid. I thought that was terrific as well. No, man, that's the thing. It's just all of these, the crossovers with Glee, the crossovers with Kiss. They're just fun. The zombie story. I know DeFalco doing the Man from Riverdale stuff. And I think that might have been an old concept because I'm an old Archie reader, man. I go way back. And I don't know.
That was based on the old. There was a '60s storyline, or the man.
Sure.
And then he just updated it.
No, it's great, man. I mean, that's the thing. I mean, even in the mid '90s, and it was that stupid one shot of Archie versus the Punisher. That was hilarious, and and I think I really think the company has regained that spirit of why not. And it sounds like it, and based on the products that we see, that there's just really good, fresh ideas happening at Archie. What kind of push was there? Major pushback with Kevin in certain markets? I mean, was it something that maybe groups or advocacy people kind of came and said, "Hey, what the hell's going on?"
Well, when we first came out with the idea of Kevin, there was some backlash. I mean, I think we lost a few subscriptions, gained thousands more, so it was definitely a positive.
Sure.
Plus positive for Archie. The biggest probably pushback was when, in The Life with Archie, as people know, that's the Archie book where Archie's characters are adults, and Kevin was introduced in that book. There was he got married to his boyfriend in that book, and that was probably the biggest pushback. So 1 Million Moms, as we all know and love, came out, and they were protesting it because it was someone saw it on a bookshelf in a Toys R Us.
Okay.
And we're very concerned that it would, infect the children's minds of America. So they kind of put out a press statement for asking people to boycott the book, and it ended up helping the book sell out.
That's fantastic. That's great.
We're kind of fond of 1 Million Moms in our own special way.
Well, I could appreciate that. And that's the thing, man, honestly, and I'm not just saying this because I'm talking to somebody from Archie. I honestly believe that all the stories have always been and continue to be handled with good taste. And again, it's this idea of normalcy, which I really think is important when you're talking about the subjects of homosexuality and diversity as well. And just saying it's just people. And I think and Archie Comics is a good ambassador in that debate to kind of just tell everyone to relax, take a deep breath, and it's just another story about people. And I think Kevin's story with his husband and the fact, man, I love that his husband's and forgive me, I do forget his name, but I know he's a doctor, and I love the whole soap opera aspect of life with Archie, and he's having his own difficulties of being accepted as he begins his practice and not being accepted by the former Riverdale doctors clientele, the older clientele.
Sure. Yep.
Good stuff,
man. Yeah, Clay is his husband, yeah.
Clay, of course.
And,
thank you.
And the other thing that was, was pointing this out at the GLAAD Awards was that just, I was telling people, really, kids have such open minds that they're fine with Kevin.
Yep.
And, they don't freak out over gay weddings and seeing two guys holding hands. I've seen this in my kids, my kids' schools. They have friends who are gay, and it's just such a non-issue nowadays.
That's great, man. Well,
and that's I think where we're headed. I think that our readers are very young, so that's a real plus for us because they are. I guess I want to say their minds haven't been infected yet, or something.
Understood.
They still have that open-mindedness that they hopefully will retain.
I agree, and I see it with young people as well, and yeah, I do think that the current resistance that you see in the voting booths and the various debates will eventually fall away because, yeah, I luckily I think most young people are going to grow up and say it doesn't matter, it's just people, and I think that is the good news of it. I wanted to, and I'm glad you mentioned that there was a nice healthy spike in sales because. And I don't know how much you know about numbers and stuff like that, but I even remember reading a few times that while some people hand-wring about where comic sales are, Archie always, even though they don't maybe do as well in the direct market because of that distribution to grocery stores and magazine racks and stuff, the Archie numbers, am I correct? They're pretty healthy. They're even more healthy than I think DC and Marvel numbers. I
know that we, we're still, our biggest sales outlet is still the, Newsstand.
There you go.
Which is, so we've always, I think we are the top sellers on newsstands now, but that's always been the case. Direct market, I think we've made inroads there, but I just know that we are where you see us is in supermarkets and bookstores, and that's our thing. Especially the digests. I mean, the digests are just everywhere. Sure. And that's that's been the case with Archie, guys, since I've been working there. I've been there a long time, and since I've been there, the digests have always been the top sellers, and newsstand sales have always been the thing that supported us. I love too how many comic book vets are working at Archie these days. I know Al Milgrom and Paul Kupperberg. I'm sure I'm forgetting. And now shame on me. The Norm Brayfogle, of course. Any others that come to? I mean, Stan Goldberg certainly pitches in with a cover or some interiors every now and then. Still correct? Mm-hmm. And you've got Bob Smith, who's been inking for Marvel, DC. He's inking for everybody. He's been at Archie now for 10, 15 years at least, maybe even longer. And then we've got a lot of Marvel and DC artists that they do variant covers for us and of course Tom DeFalco, like you mentioned before, right? And Francesco Francavilla, one of those guys that I think always has fun, interesting Archie covers. He did those great Archie Kiss variants, and he's working on the Afterlife with Archie book that's coming up. That'll be pretty exciting. What's that about, Archie Afterlife? It's written by Roberto, who wrote the Glee book. Mm-hmm. And it's an ongoing series, and it's and then I think Francesco is doing. I think he's doing the first few issues. I think. Wow. And it's basically like an ongoing end of the world series with Archie characters, and it's got zombies, and that's as much as I know. I don't know a lot about it. I've seen some of the preliminary stuff, and it looks pretty cool. What are your main Archie books? Well, Kevin Keller, right, of course, and on and off Archie. The Archie title is I did the Archie Glee thing, which just ended, and various issues of Archie. Sure. And we have another 4-parter that I'll be working on starting at the end of this year. It's another 4-part story arc, which will have Archie and Valerie and all the groups together again, the musical groups. So Archie. Kevin Keller, and then Betty and Veronica. I've been writing that. Okay. And I do a lot of covers. Sure. Yes. And just whatever projects they throw my way. I was very busy this past winter working on the Archie Mac campaign. I'm not sure if you're familiar with that. No, tell me about that. We did a Mac Cosmetics are very big worldwide. Oh, sure. Yeah. And we did a Betty and Veronica. Betty and Veronica team up with them. They did a Betty and Veronica line of makeup. Oh, that's fantastic. So in thousands of stores across the world. They had, like these very elaborate displays, and they hired models models to be Archie, Valerie, and Veronica, and they had kissing booths, and they had this whole setup. And the product line launched in London, so I got to go over to London and help sort of launch it and do, I was in the stores with the models, and I was able to do drawings and help promote it, and it was a really very, very interesting campaign. So that was a real big deal, and that kept us very busy. We did a lot of artwork for different blogs and magazines around the world to help coincide with the launch. So yeah, it was very, very dizzying, but a lot of fun.
That's really cool. It
really was.
I just spoke to a friend who is in Chicago, and he provided the voice for Archie slot machines that are going to be in casinos. And and I saw the video for that, and it was great. It was good throwback art, very Bob Montana looking, I thought. Really, really neat. Do you ever read back on the archives and stuff, and look for that for any type of inspiration? I know you're moving forward with your stories, but any old stuff that you particularly were fond of?
Oh yeah, I mean I grew up on Archie too, so I mean I was reading the books when I was like 5 years old.
There you go, man.
I go back, of course, to DeCarlo as far as the art style goes, but I still, I love Harry Lucy and the old Bob Montana stuff. I love the old Frank Doyle stories, and I'm also a big fan of Josie and Sabrina. So I definitely go way back as far as my fan appreciation for Archie. As much as I'm, like the guy who does a lot of the more progressive stuff, I definitely love the retro old stuff too.
Is the Groovy Ghoulies, is that more Filmation, or because weren't they part of Sabrina, or am I misremembering their connection to Archie?
Yeah, they were part of the Sabrina cartoon, but they were a Filmation creation. So basically, they're Filmation.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, I always wondered why, we haven't seen them, and that makes sense. Are there other? I know that at times Archie has kind of licensed off the Red Circle superhero characters occasionally. Are there other untapped Archie properties that we might see in the near future? You don't have to, spoil any marketing details, but like just even a hint of like, are there things that are untapped that you'd like to maybe eventually do?
Well, I know that there's a character named Sam Hill who was an old Archie character who I think they're releasing that in a trade paperback. They've done some new artwork for that. And then, of course, there's a lot of the new Crusaders, and
yes.
that's going pretty strong. Like Little Jinx was a long-going Archie character for many years, and now they've updated her as a preteen.
I've read those
in a couple of trades.
Yeah, Life with Archie was doing some vignettes, kind of like they used to in the old days. And yeah, it's fun seeing Jinx at like 13 or whatever, or 12. It's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And then there's like other really like kind of like obscure, really fun old Archie stuff like Pat the Brat and Super Duck, and you see it in digest sometimes. And there's just there's a ton. I mean, Archie's got so many properties, and they've got like other then they've got their other teenage characters like Susie and Wilbur, and they've got like that Wilkin boy and
oh my God, yeah, I do remember seeing covers of that stuff. That's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
What about Sam Hill? What's the concept behind Sam Hill?
Sam Hill, he's like a detective, like sort of like an old film noir kind of thing, but done in a comic book style. So, and then the art's really nice on that. So, I haven't read it, but I know what it's about, and it looks pretty cool. So,
oh man, I'm a huge crime comic fan. I got to check that out when it happens. That's really cool.
Yeah,
very, very neat, man. That's great, honestly. And I know there's a Kevin Keller book that Kupperberg just made as well. Right,
very good. Yeah, you heard a really great story, and that's out now and getting a very good response. So that's a really good read.
That's awesome, man. Well, keep it up.
Yeah.
Honestly, I congratulations on the award, well deserved. And
thank you.
Yeah, absolutely, man. No, like you said, I think you guys really
introduced Kevin in a great way that makes him, a very natural fit for the Archie universe. And it again provides that message, and especially so important in high school, that everyone is okay. And, let's be inclusive. And man, as I'm sure, you and I know, as everybody knows going through high school, that's a Lord of the Flies situation in itself. So it's nice that Archie and Archie Comics kind of promotes that idea of like, hey, it doesn't matter who you are or what you are. Everybody's cool. Everybody's welcome. And that's the good message that I think books that Archie puts out in general, and certainly the Kevin Keller books. So congratulations on that, man.
Thank you very much. And that is definitely the message we're trying to put out, that Riverdale is an inclusive place. And it's very important, especially to young minds.
Excellent, Matt. Keep up the good work, and I look forward to another conversation with you about new projects.
Sounds great.
There you go, Dan Parent. Sometimes it takes these kind of reprint editions of Word Balloon for me to look up and say, wow, I have not spoken to Dan Parent on a Word Balloon episode in 10 years. Shame on me. Like I said, I always say hello to him at conventions. I just saw him at C2E2. So I have to rectify that. Expect a new conversation with Dan in the coming weeks or months. But it was great talking to him. Thanks a lot for listening. More great stuff this week coming up on Word Balloon. Already have things laid out with John McCrae. Going to talk to him on Tuesday. And then we're going to record on Thursday. Ed Brubaker and I are going to talk about the new collaboration with Sean Phillips called Night Music. So all that's coming up this week right now on Word Balloon, and we'll go from there. But hope you'll join us and enjoy the great conversation here at wordballoon.com. Thanks again for listening. Until next time, Word Balloon is a copyright feature of Shaky Productions, copyright 2023. Stay safe, stay happy, stay healthy.